Ready? Morning. Very happy to be here today. A little over a year ago, just before my State of the City address last year, I talked about an open space initiative, a green initiative that I was at that point initiating because what we need to do is balance between development and open space. There's only a limited amount of open space left in the city of Yonkers, and there's the ability with these great new developments in downtown to create even more open space. But that which is pristine, that which is something that we could preserve, we should preserve, and this is one of those places, and that's what I'd like to announce today. As part of the downtown project, it's anticipated that just under 3 acres of what has been designated as parkland will have to be de-designated by New York State. Now that land is really not parkland, has not been used as parkland for many, many years. It's the parking garage, it's the 87 Nepperhan Avenue building, which is the old health department building. It is some land around the parking lot over by Cacase and a piece of the parking lot just north of Chicken Island. So it really has not been used as parkland for many years, but officially it's on the maps as parks. And just under 3 acres, it's not usable by anybody. What we're doing today is offering up for dedication. I'm forwarding this on to the City Council, who will then, I assume, forward up to New York State, to designate 8¼ acres around me here, and we'll talk about it in a moment. You'll see the photograph, the aerial view here. 8¼ acres of real open space parkland in a beautiful area overlooking the Hudson River that will enable those who come here, once we build the walking trails and biking trails, to go right down to the aqueduct and tie into that entire park system, and then of course down to Warburton Avenue. 8¼ acres that we're going to be using as a trade-off in well in excess of the 2-for-1 that's required for that parkland in name only down in downtown, and this will become a real park. We're surrounded by that area now. This was land that was purchased by the city several years ago from Iona College, and this land starts up here on North Broadway and Odell Avenue, works its way down behind the Foxfire School and Tower Circle, along Odell, and then runs alongside, and a significant piece, as you can see on the map, runs alongside the aqueduct, which is of course a linear park that runs all the way up the Hudson. This will then allow people to start up here, and there will be walking trails and biking trails that will actually work their way down, so people can use this parking area. They'll be able to go down to the park and then use the aqueduct as it is used today for walking and biking. But you'll also be able to continue down, because as you know, we improved as part of a grant with New York State, the walkway down to Warburton Avenue, and then from Odell Avenue south, there's an overlook park that was built, a walking park that was built alongside Warburton Avenue. So again, those beautiful vistas of the Hudson River and the Palisade can be enjoyed by all the people who come here and all those who live here in Yonkers. So this first initiative is something that, as I said, it's the beginning of what we promised over a year ago. And that's that we're going to create more open space, we're going to preserve more open space, and we're going to, in effect, expand our park system. I'm joined by a number of people here from the community, from neighborhood associations, our Parks Board. I was, earlier this week, I sat and met with our Parks Board and explained to them what my idea was about dedicating this parkland, and I received a full and unanimous endorsement by the members of the board for this initiative and creating this parkland. They too obviously want to see more open space created and more good open space preserved. So I want to thank the Parks Board for supporting this initiative, and as you can see, members of our board are here today. We also have some people here from different organizations whose focus is environmental conservation and obviously creation or preservation of open space. I'd like to introduce a few people who would like to say something about what we're doing today, and I would start with a representative of the League of Conservation Voters, and I want to thank him for being here today and ask him to please come up and say a few words. Dan Hendrick. Dan?
Just very quickly, anyone who lives in Yonkers knows that open space is at a real premium right now here, and we've got to do whatever we can to save the parcels that are available. So I really applaud the foresight of the mayor and, of course, the Parks Board for their wonderful support of this. Especially a piece of land with such a great view. You can see the Palisades across the way here. It's really, really inspiring. You know, it isn't easy to balance development with open space, but As you look around here, you can see the opportunities that would be here for hopefully for recreation, or at the very least for some good walking and time to contemplate, especially in this busy world of ours. That's a great opportunity. And what this reminds us today, too, is that it's local governments like Yonkers that are at the forefront of smart growth, of climate change, and it's initiatives like that of the mayor here that are really making the difference. So I want to congratulate him and thank him, and congratulate, of course, the local residents who are going to benefit from this area. So thank you very much.
I'd also like to recognize members of our Parks Board, but in particular Milton Holtz, who is also head of the Runyon Heights Civic Association. Milton, thank you for being here. Barbara Smith, who is the president of HARCA, the Hudson River Community Association. Barbara, thank you for being here. And Millie Medina with our Parks Board also. Millie, thank you. Both Millie and Milton were there the other night, and we're fully in support of this initiative. As I said, this is why they are there. They're on that Parks Board. They're on the Parks Board to make sure that our parks are usable and we create as much open space and green space as we can in the city of Yonkers. Now I'd like to ask one of the community leaders who has been very active, not only in Northwest Yonkers, but in a lot of what's happening in our downtown also. And this is important to him because, as you know, the Napier Park is just adjacent to this executive park. And there's been a great deal of pressure to develop up here, especially this piece of land. We've had many calls from developers who would like it because of its incredible location and the views and all. And that's, although it would make a good development site, it makes a much better site for a park and to maintain this open space. So I would like to now ask the president of the Napier Park Association, John Larkin, to please come up and say a few words. John?
Thank you, Mayor. Our neighborhood association has always been instrumental in wanting to save open green space for our community. This is a fine example of what can be done in our city to preserve 8 acres of parkland forever for our citizens and our children and grandchildren. I applaud the mayor and the city for using this as an example of what can be done to actually control and to actually stop overgrowth within the city. This is a wonderful example of what can be done in a city of our size. To take 8 acres of land, it's unbelievable that we have this much property within an area of the city of Yonkers that can be taken and actually used for the benefit of the people. So I thank you, Mayor, for doing that.